You touched on something that's quite interesting in these discussions, because one of the things that's unique about DEI is that it's all about people, and people change depending on where we are in the world, of course, personally, but more importantly in this context, demographically. So that's something that we often talk to companies about, the difficulty of applying DEI standards on a global level. How does one do that? So how does HSBC Asset Management deal with the nuances in, for example, your stewardship practice when you engage with companies?
Yeah, so we when we engage with companies, it's really important to be reasonable as well as ambitious and progressive. So we recognize cultural and historical backgrounds of each market and adjust our expectations accordingly, both in our engagement and voting. For example, we need to realistically lower expectations when we engage with, say, companies in Japan or Korea, then have lower expectations than what we have in most European or the US market and North American market. And this is not to say that we won't push, companies in Japan or Korea, but we just start be realistic about the expectations when we start. And we think it's important to be reasonable and understanding, to be seen by the companies to be a credible and trusted partner when we have constructive dialogue. Similarly, we acknowledge the difficulties in obtaining data on certain aspects, such as racial diversity or LGBTQ in some markets. And even the concept of racial diversity might be different, but also in some countries, LGBTQ is not legally acknowledged out loud. And also other issues like social mobility. The definition of social mobility that we have in the UK may not be directly applicable to other markets. So we need to be realistic in that we set appropriate engagement objectives and targets according to who we're engaging with.